The upcoming fight between Anthony Joshua and Otto Wallin on December 23rd is something that can be called When Friends Collide. This is the Day of Reckoning, Part 7 breakdown for the fights that'll be on that historic night. Let's talk about these friends more. In the upcoming history-making card, Day of Reckoning, scheduled for December 23rd, 2023, we are going to see an assortment of heavyweights fighting in bouts that in the fourth quarter of the year finally brings about heavyweight activity outside of what we recently saw earlier this year when Alexander Usyk fought Danny Dubois, and then most recently we saw Tyson Fury in against Francis Ngannou. And headlining in a co-feature of separate bouts will be Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, with an eye toward facing one another in early 2024. But as this card comes about, the bout that Joshua will be taking in this December 23rd bout is against a familiar foe in Otto Wallin, who is now 26-1 with 14 KOs. He'll be pitted against Joshua, who's now 26-3 with 23 KOs, in a fight that'll see both men jockeying for position toward title shots in 2024. These two are very familiar with one another, going all the way back to amateur competition, and have sparred together in professional preparation for bouts early in their careers. I would say that they're cordial toward one another, but that's where the courtesy may end. Because coming into the bout, we're going to see Wallin, who has shown the fact that he is a worthy contender, even after facing the likes of Tyson Fury and other fighters like Dominic Breazeale and Murat Gassiev. Wallin shows us that he is a good counterpuncher in the heavyweight division, and he's mobile and gives angles. That doesn't mean he's very athletic, but when he punches off of counters, and he's able to get the angle on his counter shots very well. He gave Tyson Fury more fits than he expected, and being a southpaw, showed somewhat of craftiness and survival skills, because even when he was hurt at one point against Tyson Fury, he was able to survive. So when he faces Joshua, whom he has competed against both as an amateur, like I said, and working with him in the gym, Joshua will present a different set of problems, because being once an aggressive puncher himself, Joshua used to be a seek and destroy type fighter. With a formidable size of 6'6" and an 82-inch reach, he had power in both hands and a most lethal of uppercuts. Some of this seemed to go away when he faced Andy Ruiz, going all the way back to 2019 June at Madison Square Garden, where he suffered his first loss. Coming in against Wallin, the question is, will he return to being that once formidable fighter who held the unified titles? Wallin shouldn't be expected to be in awe of Joshua, but you just don't know. He is what we would call a rugged competitor, but he lacks the athleticism to keep up with a fighter like Anthony Joshua. That may be where his shortcomings lie. Wallin, who's 33 years of age, and like I said, he's a southpaw, and he's 6'5.5" with a 78-inch reach. His hands are not as quick as he would need them to be against an Anthony Joshua, but the fact that he punches off of angles may be something where he presents Joshua with some problems. Joshua is a little bit robotic himself, and punching off of angles may serve him well. Ruiz got his shots off against Joshua on angles, but his hand speed was far superior to what Joshua will see when he enters the ring against Wallin. There's another factor that Joshua now has in the fights: his indecisiveness, which allows for openings for opponents to land shots against him. That's where Wallin may have some working in this fight. It may work in his favor because that indecisiveness that Joshua now has, sometimes he freezes up, sometimes he's hesitant. But overall, his pedigree still tops anything that Otto Wallin has done with his career or even in his execution in fighting. So, with those things being looked at, if you go back once again to his battle against Tyson Fury, Fury made it easy for Wallin to feel as if he belonged in the fight. In that fight, he showed the type of wherewithal in attacking Fury, opening up a severe cut over his eye and doing some things that no one expected. Also being the southpaw gave Fury problems. I personally believe that it was more of his southpaw position that allowed for him to play the spoiler in that fight. And as a spoiler, what has happened is many other heavyweights in the division have decided not to face Otto Wallin because the Fury fight gave him a ton of confidence. And it really showed back in February of 2021 when he took on the likes of former contender Dominic Breazeale. He battered Breazeale in a way that people really didn't expect. And Breazeale, being the tough, hardened fighter that he is, was in there to take the punishment, but Wallin meted it out with no problem. And there haven't been any fighters since then willing to step in and face him, especially the likes of Dillian White, who had a fight signed and ready to be delivered, but pulled out against Otto Wallin at the 11th hour. Some said because he had an opportunity to face Fury for that WBC title that he had been waiting for an opportunity for, it would have served him well to fight Wallin, just to have the fight under his feet so he could be as active as necessary. But no, he didn't face him because of the threat, and he never looked to face Wallin again in the aftermath of pulling out with a so-called injury. So overall, this fight, though it could be competitive for rounds, expect Anthony Joshua to prevail. He should prevail based on what he's been able to do in the division overall, the experiences that he's had, and now with Ben Davison working in his corner as another trainer over Derek James, we should see something else out of Joshua. But will he be able to put it all together for an outstanding showing. I expect him to prevail, but not to necessarily avoid bumps in the road. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts about Otto Wallin's chances against Anthony Joshua as a southpaw. Leave comments and let's discuss further. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.